Hello everyone and welcome back to Groove Gaming. Today I'm going to film the condition damage build guide for my Necromancer that I did in the last video. And someone did ask about it, so I was like, you know what, I gotta do it. It's a good idea. And I actually haven't done a condition damage build video, so I don't know why that passed over my head, but here it is. So to get started, we're going to go with the weapons, the sigils, the rune, and then the amulet, and then we're going to go into the actual specialization build. Then we talk about the weapon skills and then the utility skills, and that'll be it. And then just like a very brief summary of how to play this style of Necromancer. Let's get into it. So the first weapon that I use, this isn't my primary weapon, but it's mostly my secondary weapon. It is a staff. Staff provides a good amount of condition damage, but the primary weapon, main hand and offhand weapon that I use is scepter and dagger. These are the two great condition damage weapons. So the sigils, for the staff I have sigil of blood, just a nice health, stealing some health if you ever get low. 50% chance on critical hit, you will steal someone's health and you'll get some health back, so it's always nice to have. Sigil of earth, just for extra bleeding. Sigil of earth on the scepter as well, just for that extra condition damage on bleeding. And then the dagger for a nice chance for a flame burst, and fire does do a lot of condition damage. It is the most powerful condition, I think, other than chill or fear. I don't know. But it is very strong, so that's why I took this. So moving on to the rune, for condition damage, you have a lot of variety. For now, I'm running with the Rune of Ore. Actually, let's go over to here. But you can also use Rune of Grenth, because it also does chill duration. And for this build, we convert chill into a condition where it will do damage. So Rune of Grenth is a possibility if you want to go that route. Or Rune of Balthazar, mostly because of this flame burst trigger. Maybe. This one I would not use as much, though, because you don't have a lot of outright condition damage for fire or burning. And I also did use Rune of the Nightmare, so that's also a possibility. So there's a lot of variety. You can play with the condition damage sigils if you want. Or this isn't a sigil, it's a rune, sorry. The condition damage runes. But for right now, I'm running with Rune of Ore, and I find that to be the best one that suits me. That suits my playstyle for now. Moving on to the amulet. Right now, I'm running with Viper's amulet. I actually just bought this, so I haven't really tried it out yet. But I get over Viper, good stack combinations. So I am I'm hoping that this is going to improve my gameplay. But I was also running Carrion, Rabid, I almost said Rabbit, Rabid and Sinister. These are all great amulets. You get these two for free. You do have to spend some gold for these, 10 gold I think it is. And these two are nice if you want to tweak some builds and go for either power and precision instead of the mixed variety of power, precision, and expertise. So that's your option. These two base condition damage amulets that you get when you first go into PvP, they're also really good. So I actually really do use these a lot. But Viper is amulet for now. So again, this is a very flexible build, so you can choose what you want to play with and choose what you want to discard. So moving on to the specializations. So our first specialization I take is curses. This is general condition damage trait line that you want to be taking, especially if you are Necromancer. This does provide a lot of good condition damage transferring and applying and like duration, so it's really nice. The first one I'm taking is Plague Sending. So if you have 3 conditions on you, you will send those conditions to an enemy, and it'll send up to 5. So if you have 5 conditions, you'll only need 3 of them to trigger it, and it'll send 5. So that's also a nice way to get more conditions on an enemy. The next one I'm taking is Terra, which means that your fear will do damage, and it deals additional damage if the target is afflicted with another condition. And with the scepter, you'll be doing a lot of conditions, so you'll most always have multiple conditions on the person. So that's nice to have. Extra damage, extra condition damage. And then the last one I take is Lingering Curse, which means that your condition damage is increased by 150, and then its duration is increased by 50%. So longer condition damage, or longer ticks for conditions, and stronger ticks. But this is also only when you are wielding a scepter. So only if you're wielding a scepter will this apply. Next, I take Soul Reaping. First one I take is Soul Marks for my staff, just to gain a little bit extra life force, 3% to be exact. And the next one I take is Fear of Death, and this is your fear effects have increased duration. So the longer, your fear will last longer, which means you're getting more terror ticks for your fear damage. And you also inflict fear on foes when you're down. So when you go down, you'll immediately inflict fear. And you also have another fear on your second down skill. Sounds also nice. And then the last one I take is Dumbfire. I think I'm pronouncing that right. This means Shroud Skill 1 inflicts burning on your target. This would also be good if you take, I think it's the rune? Yeah, the Rune of Grenth. I think it's Grenth. No, Balthazar. Excuse me, Balthazar. So this could also play into that, but, you know, but overall, good burning damage, so that's why I take that. And then our final elite specialization that I take is the Reaper. And this is where the chilling factor comes in. So the first trait I take is Chilling Nova, which I'll just read the description. Critical hits against chilled foes cause an explosion that chills adjacent foes. I'm sorry. I'm having a really difficult time reading today. I apologize. But this just means you will have a target explode, and it'll cause chilling to everyone. And it does a decent amount of damage. And with your chilling doing damage, which is this one, we're going to get into that a little later. The next one I take is Chilling Victory, which means every time you strike a chilled foe, you'll grant might. Single attacks can activate this trait more than once before recharging, so you're just going to get a lot of might. And then the last trait, and maybe the most important, actually it is the most important trait in this line, is Deathly Chill. And this means that your chill deals damage over time. It's 600 damage, so it's actually a decent amount of damage, actually, considering bleeding does like about 100 or 200 tick, I think, I don't know, something like that. But it does do a lot of damage. So if you manage to apply a lot of chill to someone and over a long duration, it's gonna stack up. So now that we're done with that, basic rundown, curses, Terror is nice, and increased condition damage and duration. For Soul Reaping, Marks, gain life force, it's nice. Increased durations of fear, and then burning on your Shroud Skill 1. For Reaper, Chilling Nova, AoE chilling. Chilling Victory, you get might. And Deathly Chill, your chill actually deals damage. So that's the basic rundown of the specializations. So, moving on to the weapon skills. The first set I take is, the first weapon skills, or the weapons I take, are Scepter and Dagger. Scepter, the auto attack is great for applying bleeds, and then the third attack will also apply a bleed and a poison. And the poison does a lot of damage as well, so that's always nice. And 33% less health effectiveness, so you don't heal as much. Second skill, Grasping Dead. It's an AoE, bleed, and cripple. So anyone you that gets hit by this attack will apply bleed to them, and also cripple. So cripple's nice, especially if someone's trying to run away from you. Just use that, and they'll have a hard time. And then Feast of Corruption. This will apply Torment, and then stacks of Torment based on the number of conditions on that target. So more conditions you have, the more stacks of Torment. I think the total stack is like 7, maybe 7 or 7.5. I don't know, around that. But use Feast of Corruption when you have a lot of conditions on a specific target. It's great for bursting them down, and it does a lot of base damage, 728. It's pretty good for the Scepter. And then the Offhand Dagger, we have Deathly Swarm, which is just a nice moderate damage, and also applies a blind. The blind is really good because it will bounce, and it bounces up to 3 targets. So you can effectively get 3 targets to be blinded, and blinds aren't super useful unless you actually like somehow like clutch it and you see some like big attack coming and you just blind them instantly and then they miss. So there's always like certain situations where it does come in handy, but you won't really notice it, but it's secretly there. Don't forget about it. And then Enfeebling Blood. This skill is very, very, very strong, but I always forget to use it. I'm really bad at this. It inflicts weakness, which means they're getting less endurance regeneration and less attacks on. They're more glancing blows, which means they're doing less damage to you. So yeah, that's basically the scepter and the dagger. I'm trying to make this fairly short because I sometimes tend to ramble. So yeah, moving on to the next weapon set is the staff. Staff is good for range. Like if you're trying to like play at a distance, go for staff. Necrotic grasp, good life force generator. Auto attack will end up generating a lot of life force, and you won't really even notice it. You're just like, oh, I have a full bar. So it's just a basic projectile. If you see right here, it's a hand, so it's quite a neat projectile. And then Mark of Blood. This is a mark. The rest of the staff skills are actually marks, which are all AoEs. So this Mark of Blood, if an enemy triggers it, it will apply 2 stacks of bleed to them. And if you're also in the area, or any allies are in the area, you'll also be granted regen. Regen's a little boring, but it's always there. It's always nice to have, getting like passive heals, and it's not a lot, but it'll keep you alive, you know, anything to stay alive. Next one is Chill Blains. This is also really good, especially with our chill trait line with the Reaper, where it actually does more damage. So Chill Blains, just another mark. Place that down, and they will, if an enemy triggers it, they will be chilled, which does 3,397 damage, and 3 stacks of poison. So overall, this is a very, very, very strong mark now that they introduced all the Reaper traits that allow Chill to do a lot of damage. Not only slow them and decrease the skill recharge rate, but now it does damage. So Chill is a very, very, very strong condition now. That's all I can really say about Chill Blains. And number 4 is Putrid Mark. This is another mark, as you can see. And then it will remove 3 conditions from any of your allies or yourself who are in that area when someone triggers it. And it will rip boons off, I think. Wait, in Skyrim Mark, that transfers conditions from yourself to foes. Oh. So it's just conditions that are transferred from you to the enemy. I thought it was boons for some reason. I don't know. Anyway, so that's Putrid Mark. And then the last mark is also really, really strong. Reaper's Mark. This is a mark that when an enemy ends up triggering it, they will be feared, which means they'll be affected by the Terra trait, which means they're going to be taking ticking damage, and then chilled. So it's a 4-second, about 5 seconds of chill. So that does also a lot of damage. So don't forget about Reaper's Mark. And it's good if someone's on a point and they're like they're towards the edge of the point, and you can use that. And if the game's pathing is correct, they should, if you're lucky, they'll end up running off. It's always tricky to use though, sometimes. So don't forget about Reaper's Mark and Chill Blains. That's all I have to say about that. And then moving on to our utilities, our first healing skill that we take is Consume Conditions. It does a lot of flat healing, and if you have multiple conditions on yourself, they will also heal for that. The only downside is that it will apply 5 stacks of vulnerability to yourself, which is never really good. But as it being a corruption, someone's being featured. I actually really like that outfit. Anyway, sidetracked. Sorry. The only downside is that it applies 5 vulnerabilities to yourself, which don't last too long, but if they end up stacking up to 25, it can be pretty nasty. But that's all consume conditions. You can also fiddle around with the Shout, the Well, the Signet maybe, and maybe even the Minion. The Minion's sometimes good, but the Minion trait line is not something we're using, so I wouldn't really advise that or suggest that. And then the next one is Corrosive Poison Cloud. This will mark an area and apply poison to everyone inside. Weakness as well, and also will apply weakness to yourself, which is not good. But it also destroys projectiles, or blocks projectiles. So it's always nice to have, especially if you're with an elementalist or a ranger on the enemy team. Throw that down. Most of their projectiles will be destroyed, and they're very, very less effective if the ranger's using a long bow or a short bow. So yeah, the next utility skill we use is, or I'm using right now, is Epidemic. This will send so if one person has conditions on them, you can use that on that person, and then all of their allies around them will also have those conditions. So this is basically, I'm trying to think of how to describe it. Anyway, I'll just read the description. Maybe that's gonna be the best thing. Ugh, I'm so stupid sometimes. Anyway, it will apply 3 stacks of vulnerability to yourself, but it also spreads conditions on a target foe to all nearby foes. So that's more of a better description. I apologize. And then the final shout, or the final utility skill we take, is a shout. Suffer. And then this will damage areas or enemies in an area, and will also apply chill to them. These last 2 utility skills I take are, I only really take them because of the chill, and the chill's always nice to have. And it will also transfer conditions, and in this case it transfers 1 condition, so that's nice to have. I just realized a lot of this build is actually transferring conditions. Never really noticed that. Anyway, I don't know, we learn something new every day. But yeah, I usually take this for the short cooldown as well as the chill. And then our elite skill we take is Chilled to the Bone. This does a lot of damage. It will apply stability to all allies in your area, 600 radius area, and will chill them and interrupt them. So it basically just freezes them in place. So it will stun them from 2 seconds and apply chill. So that's basically it. I just want to do this really quickly. I'm sorry if I was stumbling over my words. I don't know why. It's not a good day today, and I really apologize. I mean, it was a good day today, but like recording this was like, I don't know what happened. But yeah, that's basically it. Some of the skills in action. A lot of them don't have effects. That's cool. Enfeebling Blood. Awesome. There we go. Oh, and also Shad. I almost forgot to mention Shad. Use 1 a lot. Use 2 a lot as well. Blinds. Use 3. 3 is good because it chills and fears, so that's nice. 4 is good for regen and poison. And 5 is also good chill. So that's the basis of that. I do love the animations and the style of the Reaper Shroud. So yeah, giant scythe. I wish that was an actual scythe in game. That'd be really awesome. Anyway, that was it, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, I'm still tripping over my words. She sells seashells by the seashore. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you liked the video, like it. Comment down below, and if you haven't subscribed already, subscribe. It helps keep me motivated, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Proof out. Bye. Love you.